Todd Chrisley is worried about Julie Chrisley's health after receiving devastating news. His attorney spoke on behalf of Todd. Julie's family is also worried about her. The two are currently in federal prison for tax evasion and fraud. They are both serving time for their crime. Keep reading to find out more about this. Julie Chrisley and her resentencing hearing. Julie Chrisley was granted a resentencing hearing. The court did not feel as though they had gathered enough evidence to sentence her. However, a lot happened during this hearing. Julie requested to attend the hearing over Zoom, so she did not have to travel that far. That request was denied along with the requests to wear street clothes during court and a 24-hour furlough. Julie was ultimately sentenced to the same 84 months that she originally received. This was heartbreaking for her children and family. Todd Chrisley is worried for his wife. Todd Chrisley is now worried for his wife. After she received the devastating news that she would not get her sentence shortened, he spoke out about and said he was concerned about Julie's health and welfare. They did not go into detail about the worries for her health. However, earlier this year, Savannah revealed that her mother may have a tumor. I walked in thinking it was gynecology. I sat down with the doctor and she proceeds to tell me that my HCG level was high, 10.2. This is a pregnancy hormone. It should not be that high. If it were a little higher, I would test positive on a pregnancy test. Since that's not a possibility, it could be a sign of a tumor. This could be what Todd was talking about. However, it is unknown if something more happened that others are unaware of. Regardless, Savannah has made it a point that she is going to keep trying to get her mother's freedom. It seems that Julie may have a tumor or something else wrong with her. This is scary for someone to go through in general, let alone in prison. So, after hearing that Julie will not be released any earlier, Todd is concerned for his wife. Some people do believe this was all Todd's doing and Julie had no idea what she was signing. What do you think about her health issues? Do you think she should have gotten out of prison earlier? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Todd Chrisley sat in the small, dimly lit visitors' room of the Federal Correctional Institution, wringing his hands in agitation. The news had arrived earlier that morning, and it hit him like a punch to the gut. Julie, his wife of more than 25 years, had been struggling with her health ever since they began serving their respective prison sentences. But now, it was clear things were getting worse. A knot tightened in Todd's chest as he replayed the doctor's words in his mind, Julie's condition is deteriorating. If she doesn't receive specialized care soon, we could be looking at something irreversible. The gravity of those words, paired with the fact that both he and Julie were trapped in separate prisons, unable to comfort each other, sent Todd spiraling into a deep sense of helplessness. As much as Todd had always prided himself on being the strong one, the one who held their family together through thick and thin, this time was different. The control he had long cherished had been ripped from him. From behind these cold, gray walls, there was little he could do to protect or support the love of his life. Julie had always been the rock of their family, a devoted wife, mother, and grandmother who had faced every trial with grace and resilience. But the harsh realities of prison life had taken their toll on her physically and emotionally. Todd had known for a while that Julie wasn't herself. Todd thought back to the days before everything fell apart, the days when they were reality TV royalty, living a glamorous life of luxury and fame on Chrisley Knows Best. They had built an empire, raised their children in a world of privilege, and, to the public, appeared to have it all. But behind the scenes, the cracks had been forming for years. Financial mismanagement, legal troubles, and the pressures of maintaining their image had eventually led to their downfall. And now, the consequences of those choices were playing out in the most heartbreaking way imaginable. As Todd sat there, staring at the concrete walls, memories of Julie's laughter, her smile, and her unwavering support flooded his mind. He couldn't imagine a world without her, couldn't bear the thought of her suffering alone in her own prison cell. She had been the one to always take care of him, the one to hold him up when he felt like he couldn't go on. Now, it was his turn to do the same for her, but how could he, when there were so many barriers standing between them? His thoughts drifted to their children, Savannah, Chase, and Grayson, and the burden they were now carrying on their own. Savannah, in particular, had taken on the role of caretaker for her younger siblings, as well as advocate for her parents. She had been vocal in her support for Todd and Julie, fighting tirelessly for their release and maintaining the family's public image. But even Savannah couldn't shield them from the cold reality that Julie's health was rapidly declining. Todd knew that his children were terrified of losing their mother, and that fear only compounded his own. He had always been the protector, the patriarch of the Chrisley clan, but now, he felt powerless. Every time the phone rang, his heart raced, dreading the possibility that the next call would bring even worse news. Back in her own prison cell, Julie sat quietly, reflecting on her situation. Her health had been fragile for months now, but the latest diagnosis had left her shaken. She had always been a fighter, always kept her head held high in the face of adversity, but this was different. The fatigue was overwhelming, and the stress of their legal battles weighed heavily on her heart. She missed her family dearly, especially Todd, and the isolation of prison life had only worsened her physical condition. Julie had been experiencing chronic pain, weakness, and dizzy spells for some time, but she had tried to brush it off, hoping that it was just stress. But the prison medical staff had conducted tests, and the results were clear: Julie was facing a serious health crisis. She needed medical attention that the prison system simply couldn't provide, and the thought of battling this illness alone was unbearable. She longed for the comfort of Todd's presence, for the warmth of her children's hugs, for the sense of normalcy that had been stolen from her. But those things were out of reach now, and all she could do was wait and hope that she would be granted the medical care she so desperately needed. Savannah, too, was grappling with the news of her mother's deteriorating health. She had already taken on so much responsibility since her parents' incarceration, but this was a new level of stress. She couldn't imagine a world without her mom, and the fear of losing Julie haunted her every waking moment. Savannah had been in contact with their legal team, pushing for compassionate release for Julie on medical grounds, but the process was slow and grueling. The system didn't move quickly, and every day that passed felt like a ticking time bomb. Todd knew that they couldn't afford to wait any longer. Julie's life was on the line.